Hey everybody, it's Herbert. I'm back, and today I want to show you my garden. It is a little bit before the beginning of May, and there's already some stuff growing. And before I show you, I'd like to talk about why I garden and why I think gardening is a good thing, and why I think it's a valuable tool if you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle. I am a firm believer that a big chunk of our diet should come from animal products, animal protein, the bioavailable animal form of various nutrients. I'm a big believer that it's really hard to replace those with a solely vegetarian-based diet. However, I still love my vegetables. They complement the other types of food that I eat in terms of seasonings, in terms of sides, and they are a low-calorie way to feel satiated and get some other nutrition in without being tempted to eat much more unhealthy things like a lot of processed foods and packaged foods and things that are filled with highly oxidative seed oils. And so that's why I garden. The other reason I garden is because I'm out in the sun, I'm being physically active, it's peaceful, it's therapeutic, I'm getting vitamin D, I'm getting sunlight, and so I just find that this has helped me mentally and physically and dietarily by making this part of my practice in trying to live a healthier lifestyle. So I'm just going to take you through some of the things that I grow. It's pretty simple. I'm just getting started in my gardening journey now that I live here in Tennessee, and but things are looking pretty good. So this is my garden. It's called a Darwin garden because at this point it's going to be survival of the fittest. I don't know what plants are going to do great, what plants are going to not do great, what plants are going to outcompete other plants, but I have a few different plants in here. And the reason it's turned into a Darwin garden is because there is a plant I planted last year that I thought was totally dead and never produced, and now all of a sudden it's coming back incredibly thick. And those are what's called Jerusalem artichokes, and those are those star looking buds that are kind of popping up everywhere, like right here, and those will get about 8, 10, 12 feet tall. They'll produce a huge amount of tubers. When I grew them in New York, I think I planted like 8 pounds of tubers, and I pulled up over a couple hundred pounds, so they're very productive. But I wasn't expecting them to come back. So now those are going to be competing with the potatoes that I've also planted in here. And it might work out pretty good because potatoes usually mature earlier, so if I can get an early harvest of potatoes and then let the sunchokes take over, then I should have a nice multiple harvest out of this garden. I also have here what's called walking onions, Egyptian walking onions, and they're really neat because unlike other types of onions that have a flower at the top, these actually produce more clones at the top. It's kind of like invasion of the pod people. So what'll happen is they will keep growing till the plant falls over, and these new bulbs on top will set new roots, and they will travel throughout your garden so that they're walking across your garden. And here's a really good example of that. You can see that this one is much more mature. It's toppled over, and now those are going to be setting root as well. Also, shout out to my buddy Colin at Holistic Heritage Homestead. He has his own channel. He's really interesting if you want to listen about homesteading and just being self-sufficient. But he sent me a whole bunch of heirloom seeds. Right now I have zucchini. The zucchini are still waiting. I have okra that's still waiting. What's in these pots, I have pea plants that are just starting to germinate, which is great because that is what I consider to be a high quality source of plant-based protein. And we also have some herbs growing here. I have dill and cilantro that I just like to use for cooking. So what's great about this garden is that I can grow a lot of calories in a small amount of space. I can grow a lot of carbs in a small amount of space. I can grow a fair amount of protein in a small amount of space. But one thing that's really difficult to compensate in your garden is growing healthy fats, because most of the plants that I could grow in my garden in this climate are going to be very high in linoleic acid, omega-6 fatty acids, which are correlated to a host of metabolic issues. So I'm not a huge fan of that. So that's why I don't grow things like sunflower seeds or walnuts or anything that is just rich in a high plant fats. Ideally, what I would want to grow is something like coconut or macadamia, which have much healthier fats, but they don't grow in such cool climates. So where am I going to continue to get my fat for now? I'm going to continue to get it from animal sources, and I'm going to enjoy what I can grow in my garden. And what I'm hoping to find to add to my garden is more of the high oleic products that are starting to come out. They're starting to come out with different types of seeds and nuts that have a different fatty acid profile, such that they're much lower in the linoleic acid, omega-6 polyunsaturated fats, and they're much higher in monounsaturated and or saturated fat, which in my opinion our bodies tend to be much more good at processing. So anyway, this is my garden. It's a good way to grow healthy food, control your inputs, make sure that you're growing your food in clean soil and using clean water. And it's a good way to, it's also a lot of fun, and it's a good way to put other types of food in your fridge that will keep you from being tempted to eat the junk that we're all trying to avoid. All right, thanks for joining me, guys, and let me know what you're growing in your gardens. Let me know if you have any ideas for somebody who's trying to garden in East Tennessee. And looking forward to posting more progress on this garden. Have a good one, guys.